Today's passage is Amos chapter 5 verses 14 to 15 and 21 to 24. Amos didn't mince his words. There's rather a lovely place where he is abusing the rich and spoilt women of his day, and he calls them cows of Bashan. Imagine how they felt about that. In this passage, he's pretty outspoken, if not rude, and speaks some pretty direct words from God. I hate, I despise your feasts. Now, these were not birthday parties or garden barbecues. They were religious feasts and observances. God is rejecting outright all that they were doing in the cult. The sacrifices, the services, the songs, the harp playing. Must say I could do with some singing and some harp playing, or any music making together, really. It's one of the things I really miss, and it seems like it's going to be some time that we'll still be deprived of this. Doesn't God like listening to our services then, or our singing, our prayers? Why did Amos express such total rejection of all their worship? The clues are in verses 14 to 15 and verse 24. Seek good and not evil. Establish justice. Let justice roll down like waters. The problem was that their lives were in total contradiction to their worship. They worshipped a God of justice and compassion, and then they went out and oppressed their neighbours. There was no justice to be had unless you paid for it, and that is no justice at all. Society was sick and corrupt, and Amos saw it when he visited the city from his rural background. He was shocked at the practices he witnessed, the hypocrisy. So he describes in this vivid language a God who turns his back on their worship, who stuffs his fingers in his ears so as not to hear the music, who refuses to breathe in the odour of the sacrifices burning on the altar. Clean up your act, God says, or I am not listening. Your worship is abhorrent to me. Strong words indeed. Amos got into deep trouble for this. Not that he stopped prophesying. He was speaking truth to power, and power was angry and defensive and protected itself, like it usually does. How familiar this all is. How like today's protests and campaigns. Black Lives Matter, Extinction Rebellion. People standing up against current practices and speaking out for what they believe is right. Calling for radical change in society. Give everyone equal rights. Care for the planet. It's just like what the prophets did. So are we listening to the modern day prophets? When we resume worship together, will God listen with pleasure to us? Will God welcome the return of choral music of the sacraments? Or will God say to us, I hate, I despise your services? Have you seen what is going on in the world? What is wrong in your society? What are you doing about it? It's a very tough challenge. Our lives and our worship need to match. If we worship a God of love and justice, then those are the principles by which we are expected to live. What else would that worship mean? Let justice roll down like water, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream.